नमः ॐ विष्णुपदाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमति भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी निति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्तारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे गोविंद जय जय गोपाल जय जय राधा रमण हरि गोविंद जय जय गोविंद जय जय गोपाल जय जय राधा रमण हरि गोविंद जय जय गोविंद जय जय गोपाल जय जय राधा रमण हरि गोविंद जय जय गोविंद जय जय गोपाल जय जय राधा रमण हरि गोविंद जय जय गोविंद 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 हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे with all your heart, all of you, one more time. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Let's one more time take the shelter of the holy name without any other thought. Just on the holy name, take complete shelter of the holy name. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. नाम संकीर्तन की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। शील प्रभुपाद की जय। अनंतरा श्रीमद् भगवद गीता की जय। ओम अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरुं श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातां सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजन सहितं कृष्ण चैतन्य देवं श्री राधा कृष्ण पादान् सहगण ललिता श्री विशाखान्वितांश्च। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छा कल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। मूकं करोति वाचालं पंगुं लंघयति गिरिं तत्कृपातमहं वन्दे परमानन्दमाधवं श्री चैतन्यमीश्वरं। श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः। हरे कृष्ण। So we are in Gita Sandesh. We are in the 14th chapter entitled The Three Modes of Material Nature. So this is one of my most favorite chapters. The reason for being the most favorite chapter for me, because I can personally understand what Bhagavad Gita is, why Krishna is speaking Bhagavad Gita, how I can apply Bhagavad Gita in a very practical way. The knowledge what is getting imparted in this Gnana section is what you can come to know. See, the analogy is that when you go to a doctor, the doctor gives you a prescription. That's one level. That prescription he gives, just ask you to follow. The second level doctor is that he gives you the prescription and he also tells you that some of the important things that you need to follow, he will also tell you. That is second level doctor who could operate at that level. A third level doctor or a higher level doctor is that he will give you the prescription, he will tell you what are the important things you need to follow, and in addition to that, he will also tell you that what are some of the things that you should follow and why you should follow. So the why part is what the last doctor will say. So let me reiterate. See, the first doctor gives you the prescription, just okay, follow it. Second doctor tells you, yes, I have given you the prescriptions and these are some of the important things that you need to follow. The third doctor is that he will not only give you the prescription, not only tell you what are the important things that you need to do, he will also tell you why you need to do certain important things which he will state the why part. Say, for instance, I'll give you an example. I, being a yoga practitioner, and I give yoga classes, and some people come to me and say that why yoga is important, and then I tell them that these are the yoga asanas that are good, that you need to do for half an hour or so, and I will give them the list of yoga asanas that we need to do, and if you do it, that is what it will help you. I will tell and give you the prescription. Second level is that I'll tell, out of these asanas I am giving you, there are few important asanas you need to follow. And the third level, what I also do is that out of these important asanas, if you do these important asanas, what are you going to get? Why you need to do? What is the benefit you need to get, you will be getting? So that is what I will be emphasizing. For instance, if suppose somebody comes in this corona time, I would say that do Tadasana. Tadasana is stretching exercise where your lungs are getting expanded, and not only lungs getting expanded on the vertical direction, horizontal direction also you need to expand your lungs, and lateral direction also you need to expand backward. Once you expand your lungs, oxygen intake capacity will increase because the balloon is increasing. So when I explain that, when you do these asanas, what is the benefit you are going to get, why you should do these asanas, then that is where you as a doctor, as a teacher, as a preacher, you are working at the optimum level. Okay. Otherwise, what will happen is that the patient will not understand why it is important. Now, Krishna is taking whatever knowledge he has explained in the previous chapters and verses. Now he is taking and giving the importance of why this knowledge is important. That is the beauty about Bhagavad Gita. The first two verses of the Bhagavad Gita, basically in this chapter 14.1, tells you why part of it. Why this Gnana section, what he is giving is important. He says that the first two verses, Krishna says that great sages attained liberation when they took up this knowledge. The second thing he says is that in the second sloka, so you don't have to take birth again, and no distress will be there at the time of death. So we all know that at the time of death, so much distress is there. How much? Shastra says that 10,000 scorpions biting at the same point, same time, so much pain is there, so much distress is there. So how can you overcome that? That is what Krishna is saying, that when you take this knowledge, what I am giving you, then you will be able to overcome all this. Not only that you will attain liberation, not only that you will be getting rid of this Janma Mrityu Jara Vyadhi and coming out of this cycle. The third thing is that you will not have distress at the time of death. Idam Gnanam Upashitaha. So Idam Gnanam Upashitya. So basically what Krishna is saying, that when you take this knowledge, by taking the shelter of the knowledge, what does the shelter of the knowledge mean? Actually, you need to take the shelter of Krishna, but you don't want to take shelter of Krishna most of the time. So that is our problem. But that is the problem for which we have come here into this material world. So how now? So mercifully, Krishna is saying that yes, Sarvadharman Parityajya Mamekam Sharanam Raja. 18.6 is Krishna says, you surrender unto me, but I don't want to surrender. So that's the problem. Krishna is saying surrender, Baba, but when you surrender, it will be, you will be able to attain liberation. You will, but no, I don't want to surrender. Then at least Krishna is saying now that, so Krishna is saying that take shelter of this knowledge. When you take the shelter of this knowledge, you will be taking shelter of me, or you will be motivated to take the shelter of me. So that is the importance of Bhagavad Gita. See, sometimes what happens is that, so especially for TB patients, I come across some TB patients, and as part of my Panchagavya practice, I also treat these TB patients. And what happens is that, and in general also from allopathic perspective, when you have this TB patient, So they say that take this dose for 4 months. TB. If you are affected with TB, take this dose for 4 months. Though the symptoms of TB are not seen after 2 months, also don't stop it. That's what they say that. Why? Because the symptoms are not seen doesn't mean that you are cured the problem. So in the TB perspective also, they say that there is resilient TB. Resistant TB will be formed. So because of the TB has not gone and you have taken only half dosage and you have not taken the complete dosage, resistant TB will be formed, wherein treating that TB is very difficult. It is almost like that person will be affected and he may die. So stopping sometimes in between is very dangerous. So keep taking the medicine even though the symptoms are not there. So what does that mean? That means that now some people take to this Krishna consciousness, take to Bhagavad Gita, they hear and say that, okay, I heard now, I know what to do, and now they are not ready to take the medicine. Or they will take the medicine only for a couple of days or one month, 2 months. But no, because this modes of nature, which is what Krishna is going to emphasize, they are going to distract you, they are going to sidetrack you from your goals. So for that reason, you need to take this medicine every day. And what is that medicine we need to take every day? Can somebody tell me on the chat? What is that medicine that you need to take? Anybody remembers? Okay, yeah, good. So basically what you need to do, as some of you have mentioned, you need to take to the chanting process, but in addition to that, you need to do ABCD. ABCD is our medicine. A is for taking the association. Don't leave this association. The next level, what we are taking up after this Gita Sandesh is over, is Gita Sadhaka. Basically, you will keep this association. So A is for association, B is for reading books, Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, don't leave. So read, if you don't understand also, you should be reading this Bhagavad Gita. Slowly this knowledge will be start coming to you. There was once a person who was crying while reading Bhagavad Gita. So he was crying while reading Bhagavad Gita, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was passing by and he saw this person. He's a Brahmana, and he was crying. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu curiously asked, "Why are you crying? What's the matter?" Then this Brahmana said, "See, Prabhu, I was instructed by my guru to read Bhagavad Gita, and I am not very perfect in reading Bhagavad Gita. I don't have so much knowledge. Neither I can read the slokas properly. And whenever I read, people are making fun of me. And my main concern is that I am taking the instructions of my spiritual master and reading it. But I also find that on the first page of the Bhagavad Gita, or the first cover of the Bhagavad Gita, I see that Krishna has become charioteer of Arjuna. Supreme Lord becoming chariot of Arjuna. I am just thinking about that scenario and crying. How merciful is Krishna that he has taken a menial position to serve these devotees. So magnanimous and merciful is Supreme Lord Sri Krishna. So then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, you have perfected the art of gaining the spiritual knowledge. And why? There are two important things that it is mentioned here. That first is that he has followed the instructions of his guru. Second, he understood the essence of Bhagavad Gita. What is the essence of Bhagavad Gita, or the preliminary requirement to understand Bhagavad Gita? Is that Krishna is the Supreme Lord. and he is very merciful, and he can do anything for his devotees. So that is what is experienced by this particular Brahmana, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, you have perfected it. See, please continue this path. Though you will not be able to, you are not able to read properly now, because mercy of Krishna will come, and then you will be able to come to a stage where you will be experiencing all that what Krishna wants you to experience. So that's the beauty about this Bhagavad Gita and how we need to take it. So as just to reiterate the analogy what we have been given, so keep taking the medicine even though the symptoms are not there. So keep taking this medicine, and our medicine is ABCD. So I keep on repeating, please forgive me for that, but because of our conditioned nature, we forget the basics and we don't want to take it up. So reiterating that, re-emphasizing that will help us. An ounce of practice is better than tons of theory. So that is what is told, right? Before taking the medicine, you also need to take the knowledge first. So before you take this medicine, suppose I am chanting. If I know the glories of chanting, what will happen when I do this chanting? If I get the knowledge of chanting, then I could do that particular activity much more. See, what is the definition of Buddhi Yoga? Can somebody unmute and tell me what is the definition of Buddhi Yoga? This is what we have been discussing so many times. I just wanted to understand. Let me just get to my chat once. Please forgive me. Oh, I have not yet. Just give me 1 second. I have some. So please bear with me 1 second. Yeah, got it. So what was the question that I was asking? Can somebody tell me? Where was that? What is Buddhi Yoga? Can somebody unmute and tell me what is Buddhi Yoga? Yeah, Kushbi Mataji. Go ahead.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Buddhi Yoga is doing devotional services and doing a prescribed duties and offering the results to the Supreme Lord.
Okay. Very nice.
And yes, Prabhuji.
Anything else, Mataji? That's all? Okay. Anybody else would like to take it to the next level? To add anything more? What is Buddhi Yoga? Unattached to the results, yes. Karma Yoga, Rajneesh Prabhu, very nice. So don't forget these fundamentals which is keeping on, we are repeating. See, Buddhi Yoga is Karma Yoga you're doing karma, that is Karma Yoga on a strong platform of Jnana Yoga with a mindset of Bhakti Yoga. That means, why am I doing? For whose pleasure I am doing? That is what is why. So Buddhi Yoga is using your intelligence and taking up the activity is what is Buddhi Yoga. And how you are taking that activity? You are taking up that activity and with complete full knowledge of Jnana and the why, which is what you are doing for the pleasure of Krishna. And when you are doing it for pleasure of Krishna, obviously you are not getting attached to the results, neither you are expecting the results for yourself, because you are doing it for Krishna's sake. So that is what Buddhi Yoga is. Now this is getting reinforced here as part of this Jnana part. So we are just taking slowly, we are moving. But again, we will reach there to understand in a systematic way. Okay, so in the end, Krishna says, take shelter of him. But before that, he is saying that shelter of this knowledge is important. So don't underestimate that Krishna has already given the essence of Bhagavad Gita, and the important chapters of Bhagavad Gita are the first 6 chapters. So, the middle 6 chapters is what is the Bhakti section segment. So I don't have to take care of the Gnana part. Gnana is very important because you are not ready to take the shelter of Krishna immediately. None of us. So Krishna is saying, take the shelter of the knowledge, and then when you take the shelter of the knowledge, you will take the shelter of me. So that is what he's saying. By taking shelter of knowledge, you will be inspired to take shelter of Krishna. So sometime back also we discussed, when you are doing seva, when you are doing chanting, what is the need of reading Bhagavad Gita? See, then also Krishna said, when you are doing seva, whenever you are doing chanting, what will happen is that you will get some inspiration, enthusiasm to know more about Krishna. So that to know more about Krishna will lead you to take up Bhagavad Gita and read. So that is what, because it is done with love. Love is getting evolved when you do seva and basically your sadhana. So that love is what is prompting you to know more about Krishna. And that's where you will be picking up Bhagavad Gita and reading what Krishna is trying to impart this knowledge. See, these principles you will be seeing repeatedly. Whatever japa, sadhana, seva you are doing, if you can get that intellectual understanding of why you are doing it, very important. We have been labeled by many people that we are dogmatic people, we are religious people, but we don't know the philosophy. So Krishna and Srila Prabhupada emphasized this so many times. Religion without philosophy is sentimental, and philosophy without religion is lame. In some way it is kind of Moronic also sometimes. So that is what, these two are extremes. So the perfect combination is that you need to have religion, you need to have philosophy. That philosophy part is coming from the Gnana section of the what Krishna is trying to give you. If you know the glories of the holy name, as we said, we can chant more seriously. So Krishna is asking us to take the shelter of this knowledge and come back, wherein you will come back to him surely. So that is what is being emphasized. And I stressed upon this so many times. So one last time is that taking shelter of Krishna, we are not yet there. So take shelter of knowledge and worship Krishna with intelligence. That is what Krishna is saying. Buddhi yogantam. So you worship Krishna with intelligence. What does that mean, worship Krishna with intelligence? Take shelter of the knowledge of what Krishna is giving. That is what worshiping Krishna with intelligence. Okay, so I think I made that introduction clear. So let's go to the first chapter, the 14th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Let me share my screen. Hope it is visible. Okay, so if you see here, we are discussing 3 modes of material nature. What are these 3 modes? How is that it is going to affect you? And in greater detail, this is what is going to get discussed here. 3 modes. What are these 3 modes? Verses 1 to 9. Race for prominence. What is that which we are trying to do in this material world? So what is this race that we are having? So we will see that. Actions in the modes and pure life. So this is a trap that is acronymed very appropriately. We will understand that. So actually, if you see, Krishna is always very logically taking one chapter to another chapter. or logically gluing his discussion, whatever he is doing. So in 13.22, in this verse, so we will recite this sloka, very important sloka. This is called Bija Sloka. Bija Sloka means Krishna takes this one of the verses and that becomes the seed for rest of the chapters, the rest of the sections also. This is that seed sloka. It is like giving an example of a seed. Banyan tree seed is there, and that seed, when you sow it, it will give rise to a Vatavraksha or a big banyan tree. So, and branches are formed, and flowers are coming, fruits are coming, etc., etc. But this seed is what we are talking about, is very important. So here, this is that seed verse that Krishna is trying to give us. So I would request some of you also to read this, so pay attention. Purusha prakrutistho hi bhungte prakriti jan gunan karmanam guna sangosya sadasad yoni janmasu. So we'll recite this one more time. Purusham prakrutim stohi bhungte prakriti jan gunan karmanam guna sangosya sadasad yoni janmasu. Can somebody recite this? You can unmute and try it. Anybody would like to? Can you raise your hands? Nobody? Yeah. Yeah, you can try it. There's no harm. Faultily, if you also do, that is good. Yeah, go ahead, Priti Mataji.
Purusha, Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Right.
Purusha Prakrutistato hi.
Yeah, Mataji, go ahead. We can't hear you. Seems some problem.
Purusha, Prabhuji, are you able to hear me? Purusho Prakrutisto hi. Bhukte Prakriti Jan Gunan Karana Guna Sarosya Sadhyo Nijanmasu.
Okay. Thank you, Mataji. Thank you very much. Puja Mataji, you can try.
Purusha prakriti stohi bhukti prakriti jan guna karanam guna sagyosha sad asad yoni janmasu.
Oh, thank you, Mataji. Kushbu Mataji, last one.
Purusha prakritisto hi bhungte prakriti jan gunan karanam guna sangosya sadasadyoni janmasu.
Fantastic. Very nice. Okay. So most of the time we do not have confidence because we are having a lot of fear. Yeah. So if you see here, the way you need to practice, somebody asked me, I think Krishna Prabhu or somebody, how do we learn these slokas? See, first what you need to do is that we don't have time to do it that way. We are not doing Purushaha. 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 Tell 5 times. Purushaha, Purushaha, Purushaha. Then Prakruti, Prakriti, or stohi. Like that, when you take these words properly, then in the sentence wise you can give, as Kushbu Mataji and other Matajis also nicely did. Purusha prakriti stohi, bhungte prakriti jan gunan, karanam guna sangosya. It is karanam. You need to pull. Karanam guna sangosya sadasad yoni janmasu. So once you practice, it will become easy. Can somebody read the translation? If you can read the word-to-word translation and the translation, it will be nice. Yeah, Raja Prabhu. Yeah, go ahead, Prem Raja. You can unmute. You are not able to unmute, huh? Okay. Go ahead, Prem.
Yeah. Purushaha, the living entity, Prakriti-stha, being situated in the material energy, he certainly, bhunktate, enjoys, Prakriti,
Prakriti Jan.
Jan, produced by the material nature, Gunan, the modes of nature, Karmanam, the cause, Guna Sangaha, the association of modes of nature, Asya, of the living entity, Sat Asat, in good and bad, Yoni, the species of life, Janmasu, in baths. The translation. The living entity in material nature thus follows the ways of life, enjoying the three modes of nature. This is due to his association with that material nature. Thus, he meets with good and evil among various species. Jai Srila Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. So, if you see here, just let me. Okay. So, please forgive me today. There are some, I have changed my desktop because it was creating some problem. I need to get used to it a little bit. Not very comfortable today, but still we'll try. Okay. So this sloka basically is a very important sloka, and as I told you, this is the bija sloka. Jiva's association with the modes of nature and why he is getting transmigrated is what is mentioned here. Purusha Prakriti Stohi. Purusha Prakriti Stohi. That means the living entity, which is the soul. Okay, the living entity here means the soul. The soul is situated in the material nature or in this particular body. So the soul is impregnated, or in one way you are associated with this body. That is what Purusha Prakriti Stohi. The living entity soul is situated in this material nature, that is body. Bhunkte Prakriti Jan Guna. So Bhunkte Prakriti Jan Guna means thinks he is enjoying the three modes born of Prakriti. He thinks that he is enjoying. He is the enjoyer. That is the root cause of our coming to this material world and getting entangled in this material world. Why? Because we are thinking that in this Prakriti, I am there to enjoy and I am enjoying. So that is what is our illusion. So, Karanam Guna Sangosya. This is due to his association with these three modes of nature. He is able to think that he is enjoying, and I came here to enjoy. So this is the root cause. And Sad Asad Yoni Janmasu. Thus he meets with good and evil in various species. That means, so why you are come to take to different life forms? That is what is explained here. That you have come basically to this material world because you feel that you are enjoying, and you also feel that I came to this material world to enjoy. So that is the reason why you are struggling here. It is the example given by Srila Prabhupada is that a baby is very comfortably there with the mother in her lap, but she now got separated and she's sitting in the sofa and now watching a horror movie. And that horror movie, she is able to experience while seeing that horror movie. she forgot about her mother. So she kind of got disconnected with her mother, and now she got associated with this movie. And that movie, where whatever things are getting shown, she is sometimes fearful, sometimes anxious, sometimes experiencing some little bit of joy, and all these she is able to experience, and she is now thinking that this is what I am and this is my situation. I am but actually you are not comfortable while seeing that movie. Why? Because you are experiencing so many things. You are fearful sometimes, and how you can really get back to your original nature, or how you can enjoy fully when you are in your mother's lap. I'm talking about a simple analogy, so that now we also are now separated from the Purusha, that is Krishna, and now we came to this Prakriti, and that means now our consciousness is got polluted, or it is now our consciousness is getting what do you say, getting related to this nature. Our consciousness is now getting related to this nature, and the way your consciousness is working with this nature is with three gunas. Understand this. If you understand this, you can relate. I know I am not really putting it in a way that I should put, but again, if you can get this central point, then you can understand. Now you are in this material world, and once you are in this material world, your consciousness is now getting entrapped, and your consciousness is what is getting stolen by these three modes. And these three modes are controlling your consciousness. And but first of all, understand that these three modes are controlling your consciousness, and that's one level. Second level is that how do I come out or purify my consciousness such that I don't get influenced by these three modes. That's the second level understanding that you need to have. And putting that into practice is what once you do, you will come out. Krishna is saying, the end results he's saying in the next two slokas, you will see that first two slokas of the start of the chapter, he'll tell you what is the end result. That why part is what is getting emphasized a lot by Krishna. Because unless and until you know why you are doing, what is the prayojana, then you will not really do it in a perfect way, right? So Sambandha, Abhidaya, Prayojana. He is giving the Prayojana there. Okay. So Karana Guna Sangasya. This is due to the association of the material modes. Okay. So why does the soul situated in this material nature, in this body? Karana Guna Sangosya. This is due to the association of the material modes. Okay. What are these three modes? Is all that is described very eloquently, very nicely in this chapter 14. And as we told, this becomes the seed for the subsequent chapters, not just 14th chapter for your information. It becomes the seed, the sloka for chapters 14 till 17. Till 14, in 13 also he has expanded on this. In one way, it is the seed for 13, rest of the chapter, slokas, 14th chapter, 15th, 16th and 17th also. So it is so general question may come, what are these three modes, and how we can relate to this. These three modes are compared to three colors that you have in this world, right? So say for instance, you are watching a movie, something in the TV, and if you see the internal details of it, these pictures, whatever you are getting formed in front of you, are a combination of three colors, RGB. In physics terms we call it as red, green and blue. So these three colors will when they give rise, and there are different pixels that come on the screen. So whatever you are seeing this screen here, different colors, because of the different pixel combinations of the RGB, you can create different forms, different pictures here. So that is what we are also seeing in the nature. In the nature, there are three gunas. Krishna is going to tell you about what are those three gunas. And these three gunas combined will give rise to different forms, different species, forms or species. 84 lakh species have been formed because of this combination of these three gunas. Understand this. So once we understand this, then we will be able to relate to this, whatever we are able to see. So here in this particular subsequent verses, you will see that what are these modes and what is described in the entire chapter 14, you will understand. The three modes. Modes can be translated in the in Sanskrit as guna, and it all in guna also literally means that it is rope. The ropes, if you see here the picture, the person is getting controlled by the three modes. Our consciousness is getting controlled by these three modes. Now that's where we understand that, and the mode of goodness, which is sattva guna, predominates. One will aspire and for long-term happiness. A person who is dominated by sattva guna will always be looking for long-term happiness. Even if one experiences temporary inconveniences, he is not really disturbed. He is interested in long-term happiness. That's the person who is dominated by sattva guna. Okay, the second person is like a person who is overtaken by passion, the rajas. Okay, his mood is that he is fanatically seeking immediate short-term gain and doesn't expect much more out of life. So why am I saying all this? How is that it is related to us? What is the take for us? You can yourself understand in what kind of a mode you are in. It's a self-diagnostic tool. It will help you to find out what kind of a person I am. Whether I'm a sattvic guna prone or dominated person, rajasic dominated person, or a sattvic dominated person. So a person, sattvic dominated person is looking for what? He's looking for long-term happiness, and the temporary inconveniences that are coming, he's Hare Krishna. I think it is audible. Okay. So his temporary inconvenience he is able to overcome. Okay. So the next is the rajasic kind of a person who is fanatically seeking immediate short-term gain. He just wanted short-term gain, anything. He is not thinking in terms of long-term anything. He is always he is not expecting more from this life. Instant gratification. Most of us are coming under this particular segment also, or majority of them, because we always wanted instant gratification. On the other hand, a person who is dominated by ignorance, tamas, rarely achieves happiness at all. He doesn't really achieve any happiness at all. In this way, the material world is populated by living entities in different conditions of life. So if you see this world and if you analyze yourself also, you are either a person who is dominated by one of the modes or a combination of the modes. And in turn, if you see from a Ayurvedic perspective also, when we see this nadi, I kind of see the nadi, vata, pitta, kapha. So these three also determine what kind of a ailment you are having, what kind of a disease you are having, because the imbalance of this vata, pitta, kapha is what the disease causing disease is caused. How do you balance this is what Ayurveda teaches us. How do you balance this vata, pitta, kapha? In our case, these three modes which are there, which is what is dominating, and Krishna says that these three modes influence is anyway there, but go towards the sattvic and transcend that sattvic also and go to the Suddha Sattva. So how do you go transcend these modes of nature? First of all, for that you need to understand that what is that mode which is dominating me, and practically find out yourself based on the information that Krishna is going to give in this chapter, and then we will able to understand. Okay. Now we will take up the first sloka. I know today we are not making a very great start of completing this chapter today. I'm sure I have not yet mentally prepared that we will be able to cover everything today. But since this is an introduction, I thought I will spend a little bit of more time. So the first sloka, Shri Bhagavan Uvacha. I would like some of you who have not read to read this sloka so that you can practice. Now, more or less, your 18 days are over. So this is an extended part of it. So what is the extended part of it? You are more or less acting like or you are in the Gita Sadhaka stage. So you need to now become a Sadhaka. That means you need to put practice. So all these things, whatever we are going to do to complete the rest of the chapters, you are in the Gita Sadhaka stage. That means you need to apply. You need to do certain things while we are speaking here. So not just I am monotonously speaking and you are just hearing. Okay. So this sloka, very important sloka again. Shri Bhagavan Vacha Param Bhuya Pravakshyami Gnanam Gnanam Uttamam Yagnatva Manayah Sarve Param Siddhim Ito Gata. Can somebody read, or somebody can volunteer? What you can do is that I'll read one line by line. After that, you can repeat. If you can repeat by unmuting also, it's fine, or without unmute also, it's fine. Shri Bhagavan Vacha. Shri Bhagavan Vacha.
Shri Bhagavan Vacha
Param Bhuya Pravakshyami
Param Bhuya Pravyakshami
Jnananam Jnanam Uttamam
Jnananam Jnanam Uttamam
Yagnatva Munayah Sarve
Jnanatvam Sarve
Param Siddhim Nito Gata
Param Siddhim Ito Gata
Param Siddhim Nito Gata.
Param Siddhim Ito Gata.
Yeah, thank you, Prabhu. Now, can somebody read the translation? Just the translation, please. The blessed Lord said. Can somebody? One of you? Anybody?
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Yeah, go ahead, Prabhu.
Yeah, word by word.
No. Just this
The
one.
blessed Lord said, "Again I shall declare to you this supreme wisdom, the best of all knowledge, knowing which all the sages have attained to supreme perfection."
Thank you, Prabhu.
Yes, Lord.
So here he is saying that the best of all knowledge. Understand this. Krishna is not trying to deceive you by saying this. You might have said, see, what is the superlative degree of knowledge is best, right? Better, what is that? Good, better, best. So he's not saying it is good or better. He's saying this is the best of all knowledge. So this, once you get this supreme wisdom, the best of all knowledge, knowing which all the sages have attained to supreme perfection. So when you get this knowledge, you will be, when you take the shelter of this knowledge, you will be in turn take the shelter of Krishna, and you will attain the supreme perfection. One he is saying. So here, introduction and glories of this knowledge. Understand this chapter will help one to attain liberation and transcendental nature like Krishna. He's saying that, if you see here, he's saying that Uttamam, the supreme, and the best of the knowing which all sages have attained the supreme perfection. Yes. And he is also saying that subsequently, and here also, that you will be able to attain the transcendental nature of Krishna. Yeah, sorry. It is in 14.2 that he says that once you get this knowledge, you will be able to get the transcendental nature like Krishna, that means you will be getting the eligibility to go back to Goloka. And you can, so that's what, knowing which all the sages have attained the supreme perfection, 14.1 and 14.2. Okay, so this would be the couple of more slides and we will end today. So introduction and glorification of this knowledge, discussion in the purport. If you see what was revealed in chapter 7 to chapter 12, Krishna reveals in detail about himself as the absolute truth and the supreme personality of Godhead. How to understand chapter 14? Through the process of philosophical speculation. It doesn't mean that speculation means in a negative word here. You need to have religion and philosophy. This is the philosophical part. If you do not have the philosophy, tomorrow somebody will put one WhatsApp video. Immediately you will say that what Bhagavad Gita? Why should I need Bhagavad Gita? Just give up. So somebody can defeat you anytime if you do not have the philosophical understanding. So that is the reason why Krishna is saying that you need to have this knowledge, which is the best of all the knowledge so far which I have given. What is the result of such learning? Freedom from material entanglement. If you wanted to come out of this material entanglement, get this knowledge. And once you get this knowledge, you will come out of it, material entanglement. That's what Krishna is assuring. And he's saying that people have achieved perfection. And at the same time, in the subsequent 4.2 also he says that you will be liberated and you will be coming out of this Janma Mrityu Jara Vyadhi, and there will be no distress for you at the time of death. That is also is said. Freedom from material entanglement. One comes to an understanding of devotional service. Now you are not yet understood the devotional service. With the knowledge, then what is devotional service? What is the culmination of devotional service? Can somebody tell me? What is the ultimate culmination or litmus test of devotional service? How can you say that you are doing devotional service? Or you have attained perfection in devotional service? Yeah, please. Anybody? We are happy, okay? Always, yeah. Culmination, ultimately, when you have reached that stage where, yeah, remembering Krishna always, yes. Okay, one last word I am looking for. We are Paramatma in everything. We see Paramatma in everything. Okay, one last thing. Bhakti Yoga, yeah, one last thing. Yeah, Puja Mataji, surrender completely. See, finally, this knowledge, whatever you are going to gain, should lead you to surrender to Krishna. That is what Krishna is saying. Once you get this knowledge, right now we are not ready to surrender. We are unable to surrender. And how can I do it? Because, so now when you get this knowledge, then you will be able to surrender. Because just telling will not really help. You need to have the knowledge. But once you have the knowledge, then you will be able to surrender. That is Buddhi Yoga. That is Buddhi Yoga. Use your intelligence. We are not using our intelligence. Because that is the subtlest form. Because the mind is preoccupied. The senses are preoccupied. Your intelligence is, nobody is ready to bother to hear to the intellect who is always saying, surrender to Krishna, surrender to Krishna. But no. But once you get this knowledge, the intellect is getting purified and the mind is getting purified, and your senses are also going to get purified in a different way. When you put your senses in the seva, when you do seva, then your senses get purified. So, but again, to put your senses in seva, your mind is not allowing, your intellect is not allowing. So then when you give this knowledge, then you'll practically able to do things, right? So religion and philosophy should go hand in hand. So knowledge and doing your activities should go hand in hand. So now lot of people say that 12 chapters is over. So why should I really bother about the rest of the knowledge, what Krishna is giving? It's not like that. This is a very important section. So please understand, I presume I try to convey in a difficult way because of my lack of proper way to communicate, but I'll try my level best. Why this knowledge is proclaimed supreme to all? If you see, understanding the conditioning of the three modes is powerful tool to assist one on the path of self-realization. Understanding means knowledge, using your intellect, using your mind. So understanding the conditioning of the three modes is a powerful tool to assist one on the path of self-realization. By this knowledge, many sages attained perfection and transferred to spiritual world. So that's the prayojana. One can attain a transcendental nature like Krishna and thus attain liberation. So all the qualities, whatever Krishna has got, Satchidananda, Swarupa, that we can also attain and thus attain liberation from this material entanglement. Whoever understands chapter 14 will attain perfection. If you understand perfectly chapter 14, you will basically attain perfection. And I'm not going to just complete this chapter. Tomorrow I am going to do it much more systematically so that we can understand this chapter nicely. So we will probably end today with this last part here again by reading it. What is attaining transcendental nature like my own mean? Because that's what Krishna said. You will attain my transcendental nature like my own. Will that some of us may think you will become Krishna? Because transcendental nature and Krishna are not different. So will you become Krishna? No, that's not what it means here. One acquires qualitative equality with Supreme Personality of Godhead. Qualitative equality. One acquires qualitative equality with Supreme Personality of Godhead, not a quantitative equality. We are Anu, he is Vibhu. We are finite, he is infinite. Qualitatively, we are the same. It is the analogy given is that you take a glass full of water from the ocean, glass full of water or bucket full of water. And this glass full of water, qualitatively, both this water which is there in your tumbler as well as in the ocean is the same. When you go and do the laboratories search also or research also, you'll find that qualitatively both are the same. Quantitatively they are different. So that is what is the difference between the individual soul and the supreme soul. Freedom from birth and death. So attaining transcendental nature means that you will be coming out of this birth and death cycle. One does not lose his identity as an individual soul, and this has been mentioned in various Vedic literatures. Liberated souls in the transcendental planets always look to the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord, being engaged in his loving devotional service. So all the liberated souls are always engaged in the devotional service of the Supreme Lord. Transcendental nature defined. What does this transcendental nature means? Knowledge is not contaminated by three modes of material nature. So right now, our knowledge, whatever we have, is contaminated by three modes of material nature. How? You see that whatever discoveries we are doing, whatever inventions that we are doing, have got flaws in it. So somebody tried to send some Sputnik or this unmanned satellite to moon. It got flawed and it fell down again. So knowledge not contaminated by three modes of material nature is what his transcendental knowledge means. Okay, knowing oneself on the same platform in quality as a supreme person is transcendental knowledge. Lack of this knowledge of spiritual sky, they think liberation means that spiritual identity becomes formless without variegatedness. So I just get merged with the Supreme Lord, I become Supreme Lord. All this is wrong conceptions. The conceptions of real knowledge is that spiritual world is also full of variety, just like the material world. In the spiritual sky, one attains a spiritual form. So you will attain your spiritual form. See, Krishna gives a particular form based on your desire also. Now, if you are desiring that I wanted to, based on your modes of nature and dominating consciousness, you wanted to eat flesh, then he will give you a tiger body or animal body. So if you are only interested in serving him and in the devotional way, and for that you need to have a form, that also kind of a form, he'll give you a spiritual form. So you will still have your body, but it will be a spiritual body. So which is not contaminated or getting influenced by the three modes of material nature. Sattva, Rajas and Tamasic gunas are not influencing, because you have got this transcendental knowledge, and with that transcendental knowledge you taken the shelter of Krishna and you surrender to Krishna, then you will get all these things what he is talking about. Activity. Spiritual world is full of spiritual activities. It is, some people say that once I go to spiritual dham, I will lose my identity. First of all, you will not lose your identity. You will also have your body, but you will have a spiritual body. And with that spiritual body, you will do some activities, because your mind now, your intellect, everything is got purified. So one person was saying, you said the subtle body is mind, intelligence and false ego. What will happen to this false ego when I go to spiritual world? Can somebody tell me, what do you think? Because this question should have come to some of you. What will happen? Because your gross body will live here. You will take a spiritual body there, which is not based on this whatever Panchamahabhutas, etc. So what happens to your mind, intelligence and ego? Will it just leave? First of all, mind, intelligence and ego, is it material per se? Yeah, this doubt I had. Anybody would like to tell anything about that? We'll just close in within 1 or 2 minutes. So, see, this subtle body which you are having, it is like you have water, and you take the water and put it in a glass. So it will contain, the water is whatever you poured is now contained in this particular glass. Now take that water and put it in a pot. It will go and stay in that pot. So in one way, this particular water is not dependent upon this tumbler or that pot or anywhere. It is basically getting adjusted based on where it has been put into. Similarly, your subtle mind, subtle body which is there, mind, intelligence and false ego, per se, it is not material. It is basically whichever form you are taking, whichever body you are taking, this will come and stay with that. Now, since our subtle body, basically, which is what we are calling in terms of consciousness, that got impure, and our karana sharira, which is what also the desires, that consciousness is what is impure, and because of that impurity, you are taking different forms in the material realm. Now, once this purification happens, now this mind, intelligence and false ego, call it as ego now, identity, that will also come along with you. Since it is purified with your spiritual body, this will also be there, and you will still be doing your activities with your mind, intelligence and ego. So that still will be there. And that ego is also purified, is no more called false ego, but is an ego which is always going to be there, because you are the individual soul. That I will be there. But again, your consciousness is that I am an eternal servant of the Supreme Lord. That's the consciousness which you have, then it is a purified ego. If the false ego is that I am this body, I am the enjoyer, I need to enjoy. So this is the false ego. That is purified ego. So to put it in one way, the subtle body is also going to be transferred when you go to the spiritual world. But in these three things, whatever is there gets purified and then it will be taken there. Okay, you will not be bereft of your mind, intelligence, and ego. It will still be coming along with you. So please understand that. So yeah, there is so much we can speak about it. That atmosphere is uncontaminated. But there it is uncontaminated. Qualification to attain such knowledge, one must develop a spiritual qualities. So that spiritual qualities is what you will get to know that knowledge, and how do you take that shelter of that knowledge such that we can get those spiritual qualities. Benefit of such qualities is that he is not affected by creation and destruction of the material world. That means you don't have to come back to this material world. If it is destroyed also after millions of years, but still you are not really getting connected to this material world anymore. Okay, so please understand that this material world is just 3/4 of the entire, sorry, 1/4 of the entire creation. 3/4 is spiritual world, and 3/4 of the population is in the spiritual world. We are the minorities. We think that we are majorities, and that is minority. But it is not true. The spiritual world is much more bigger and much more population is there. But unfortunately, we are like Dr. Frog. Dr. Frog, if you have seen that, a frog which was staying in a well, and there was one more frog which was roaming around the ocean, and this accidentally it came to this near the well where this frog was there, Dr. Frog. And this Dr. Frog asked, "How are you doing? From where did you come?" Then he was describing about the ocean, and the ocean is so big, this and that. And this Dr. Frog was saying, "How big it can be? Can it be double the size of this diameter of this particular well?" The other frog says, "No, it is far, far bigger." But this Dr. Frog is not ready to accept. It says that it cannot be because my mind is not able to comprehend, so it cannot be. So your mind is very limited. So work under the supervision and guidance of the Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra. Then your mind will be purified, your intellect will be purified, and then you will get all the qualities, the spiritual qualities that we are talking about. Getting the eligibility to do your devotional service also, this is required. I do my seva, but again I am not doing with that consciousness. Then what good is that seva? And most of the time that is what is happening to us. We are just doing mechanically. Why we are doing mechanically? Because we do not have the right kind of understanding. So that understanding will come when you take up to this process of understanding and taking the shelter of knowledge what Krishna is giving in this particular segment of Jnana Yoga. So I think I try to bring in why we need to take the shelter of the knowledge what Krishna is giving, imparting. In turn, it will lead us to taking shelter of Krishna. Right now, we are not yet there, and to get and to take the shelter of Krishna, we need to first take the shelter of his knowledge. Hare Krishna. So I wanted to leave it here today. So if anybody has few questions related to today's topic, please ask. The other topics, whatever you have asked, we will also discuss some other time, not today. Please forgive me, I'm postponing things such that we can discuss in a right perspective in the so that we can get this knowledge, and sooner or later we'll become qualified to go back to Goloka, possibly in this life itself, and if not, this whatever spiritual balance which we are trying to gain, and this knowledge is all transcendental spiritual. Anything related to Krishna is spiritual, so it gets added to your spiritual balance. So next life will be a life where you can start. If you have done only 10% here, it will start from 11% from your next life. So nothing is going to be wrongly invested that you are doing. It's a right investment that you are doing. And I beg your pardon that I could not really put in a way that we should be putting. But tomorrow I'll try my level best to summarize one more time very quickly, and then complete the rest of the chapter, and we'll take it up to the other chapters as well. So, Dandavat Pranam, Hare Krishna. Any questions anybody has? Yeah. So, Khushbu Mataji has one. Mind, intelligence, and soul will be filled with Krishna consciousness, surrendering to Krishna and remembering to Krishna every time. So what's the question, Mataji? Please forgive me, I couldn't get. Could you repeat it on your own words? Is she not able to unmute?
No, no, Prabhuji. Yes, you can unmute.
Okay.
Please unmute, Mataji.
You wanted to... go.
Yeah, yeah.
No, Prabhuji, it was not a question. I just said that.
Oh, you made a your comment. That's really good. Yes, you are right. See, to surrender to Krishna is not easy. Absolutely not easy. Not easy in the sense, in the current situation we are in, not easy. Because our mind, intelligence and senses are not at all in your control. How can you make these three things in your control? Krishna is saying that first of all, take the shelter of my knowledge. Then the next step is that you will be able to surrender to me. So that's the important thing. So people are not able to progress in their spiritual path because of this reason. They are doing chanting. I'm not saying that when you do chanting, nothing is going to get. You're not going to get benefited at all. But with the understanding, when you do, you will get benefited, and your enthusiasm will continue forever. Ever, in the sense, till the time you are having that kind of an understanding and you have not forgotten that understanding, you will be having that enthusiasm. Most of you, I know, I started my journey. I started taking up to this chanting process. I did start with 2 rounds, and later on I could reach till 4 rounds. After that, full stop happened earlier. So why it happened? Because some inspiration was there, artificial inspiration, and since it was not sustained knowledge, or the proper knowledge I couldn't get, or I was not doing my regularly, I was not doing it. So because of that, my enthusiasm came down and I stopped chanting. Some of you might be there in that situation too. You might have picked up chanting sometime back before we started these classes also, but you couldn't retain it. Why? Because you have not taken the shelter of knowledge what Krishna is imparting. So take the shelter of this knowledge, and then with proper understanding, then your enthusiasm will continue and you will be able to sustain that. Okay, so if
One
no other...
small, yeah, Prabhuji, if we can answer a small question from Krishna Rao Prabhu, how Prabhupada got the name of Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada? I mean, from Abhay Charan Bhakti Vedanta Swami Prabhupada, how he got that name?
Okay. In short, Prabhupada. Prabhu means Supreme Lord. Okay, Prabhu means Supreme Lord. In one way, so Pada means foot or shelter. So a person who has taken the shelter of the Supreme Lord is called Prabhupada. So that is the literary meaning of Prabhupada. Prabhupada means a person who has taken the shelter, or taken to the shelter, not any shelter, shelter of the padas. Pada means he has taken, how do you put it, Prabhu?
Lotus feet of
lotus feet of the Supreme Lord. So he is called Prabhupada, not any other. So that is what Prabhupada means, and the rest of the thing also can be explained. The entire name, we'll take it up at later point of time. But yes, Bhakti Vedanta. So he is the person who is giving this Bhakti and Vedanta. In one way, you see that Vedanta, Veda Anta. So the culmination of Vedas is what is Vedanta. So that is what is Bhakti, and he is giving that. So Bhakti Vedanta. So that is how we can see. Okay. Any other question, Prabhu, before we end?
No, no more questions, Prabhu.
Okay. So we will end today with a short kirtan. Srivalli Mataji, Sindhu, would you like to do kirtan? Short kirtan? Srivalli?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yeah, go ahead, do it. Or anybody would like to, maybe tomorrow she can do. Anybody else would like to volunteer? Yeah, Prem Raja Prabhu, go ahead, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hari Bol Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Dandavat Pranam. So today's recording will not be available because hardly we have not dealt the subject. So we just introduced. So no video will be presented today. Tomorrow we will give the summary as well as start the entire chapter and complete it also. And probably we'll take it much fast in a faster pace. The rest of the plan is that in next 3 days we will complete whatever 3 to 4 days max. So if it can extend, we don't know, but max we are trying to complete in 4 days.
Prabhu, what will be the last day?
Pardon? One person, please.
What will be the last day of our class? Tentative.
Could you repeat
this particular session?
Raghunath Puri Prabhu, did you understand?
Prabhu, can you repeat once?
What is the last day for this session?
Okay. So last, see Prabhu, because of my limitation, the plan is that in next 4 days we will complete. So today is 6th, right? By 10th we want to complete. So
today is 5th, Prabhu.
Oh, 5th, okay. So maximum by 9th, like that we will complete. Next 4 days, Prabhu. 4 to maximum 5 days.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Yeah, Mata.
Prabhuji, I am Srivalli Prabhuji.
Mataji, Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, can I sing the kirtan?
Okay, sure. Okay, so let us do that. So to answer, we will complete in next 4 to 5 days. I know because of my limitation only, I am not able to do this. Please forgive me that I could not complete on time. So, but again, I thank all of you that you are able to sustain the enthusiasm and come forward and attend these classes. But again, this knowledge is very important. So please do attend, and we'll complete in next.
It's going wonderful, Prabhu. It is going wonderful.
Okay, thank you, Prabhu.
Ask Krishna wishes.
Yes, Prabhu. Yeah. See, our intention is only one thing, Prabhu. Not that you just get some knowledge, a little bit of inspiration you got and you left. You have to put it into practice and you have to take up to this Krishna concept. That is what I am trying to endeavor, and I am also trying to experience before I say it to you. And because I am not perfect, I am not able to do things very perfectly, but you are able to bear with me. I really am grateful to all of you. Thank you very much. I am able to.
All glories to you, Prabhu. All glories to you, Prabhu.
Yeah. Thank you, Prabhu. So that's your blessings. Yeah, Srivalli Mataji, go ahead and we'll end today.
Yes, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Hare Krishna, Rama Rama, Hare Rama. Krishna Krishna, Hare Krishna, Rama Rama, Hare Rama. Krishna Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Thank you, Prabhuji.
We'll just complete that. Very nice tune she picked up. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. हरे कृष्ण महामंत्र की जय, अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय, श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय, ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भगवद गीता की जय. Thank you very much. So please do not expect today's video. We will not have any video that will be sending out today. So tomorrow we'll summarize everything and complete the chapter. Dandavad Pranam. Hare Krishna.
हरे कृष्णा प्रभु, दंडवत प्रणाम.